Haven't you heard? The new Lumix S9 got announced. And to be honest, I almost pre-ordered it until I found out about this one thing that made me not to. See, I personally own the ZV-1 and I love the form factor of the camera that I even made a video about contemplating getting a smaller camera for full frame like the A7C Mark II. And after seeing the Lumix S9 on paper, it looks so great because you have really great video specs with having, I think, 6K open gate, and you have really good color science of Lumix. But the downfall of why I didn't want to get it is because it didn't have a mechanical shutter. And you're probably gonna say, well, that is kind of just stupid. The camera is so cheap and affordable and it's so great, which I'll tell you that it is really great and affordable. The problem is still no mechanical shutter, because mechanical shutter is just something that's really much needed when it comes down to taking good photos, because in reality you're just going to get a lot of warping and bending into your sensor when you're trying to take photos without the mechanical shutter. And you might be asking, well, how do you know that? Have you even tested out the camera? No, I have not. But I do have experience with a camera that only has the electronic shutter and no mechanical shutter that I actually mentioned earlier in this video. See, the ZV-1 is a camera that has only an electronic shutter. It does not have a mechanical shutter. So I've been taking photos with this camera long enough to know that I would prefer a mechanical shutter in a camera to be able to take more photos and do a hybrid style of camera like the Lumix S9 is, since it's a baby Lumix S5 Mark II into that little body, which to me was very intriguing. But once I found out that it did not have a mechanical shutter, that's the one thing that I really cannot just give up anymore. Especially after having it with my ZV-1, it did not make sense. Because I could have gone ahead and just been fine without having the issues with not having a way to monitor your audio, or it being like a dead shoe mount instead of a cold shoe mount where you can actually, kind of put things with basically the mount over here to attach things a lot nicer. Things of that sort when it came down to the camera because of the price point. It's just the mechanical shutter on this camera that's non-existent just really kind of was a turnoff. I just decided not to want to spend that kind of money on that camera, especially because it's a new system for me that I would have to get a little bit of lenses just to be able to make it through with it. So for me, I'm probably gonna opt out to just get an A7C Mark II eventually for the form factor to be able to take, photos a lot easier with good video. Because I honestly think and genuinely believe that Lumix missed the mark with this camera. They could have done really great things for that price point to get a camera that has, a mechanical shutter to be able to be a beast of a photo camera, especially for the pocket size style of a camera that it is, with a great video. Because imagine having that small form factor to get open gate video, have your custom LUTs in it to take for photos to be able to customize with their new, software that they have for an app and everything. That in reality would have really blown, the lead into the market right there, because that camera has amazing specs. It's just the mechanical shutter is what kills me every time that I see it. Because the ideology behind this camera, it just sounds so good. I mean, having your custom LUTs to be able to use for video and for your photos, to just have everything really well, in camera is awesome. I wish we could have, honestly, even Lightroom preset style where you can just put them in your camera so you can see how the photos are looking, and then you can do minor adjustments after and post, which to a certain degree the Lumix S9 can do, especially paired up with their new app that they're coming out with and everything. It just sounds so great. But like I said, not having a mechanical shutter kind of makes it obsolete to take really good photos. And I know the purpose of this camera is more for the content creators to have really good video for vlogging and things of that sort with a good price point, which I won't take that away from them, because for $1,500, having that beast of a camera with good specs is really awesome. With the minor limitations of the 10-minute recording and things of that sort, I could get over that. Like I said, it's just a mechanical shutter to have too much of the bending and warping. Just didn't make sense for me to want to invest into a camera that I could have used for a hybrid setup for photos and video, especially for the form factor, to take it more on the go with me. And that's why I've loved this camera so much, because even paired with my 20-40 by Tamron, it's such a small form factor, kind of setup. As well, even with my 20-70 by Sony, I used it a lot in Europe in my travels, so that it's just a really nice setup. But once again, the photo capabilities of this is good in daylight, but once you start kind of messing around with lights, you really just start seeing a lot of flickering and things of banding that it really is not as usual as one would like it to be. So once again, I kind of do believe that, you know, Lumix kind of missed the mark when it comes down to this camera. I think it'll be a great camera for some people. I just don't believe it'll be that big of a camera for most people, especially people that are going to notice that, you know, with the photography part of it, it's going to be limiting, especially with, you know, no mechanical shutter, having a little bit of the banding and stuff, like, especially like if you're going really fast in speed, let's say like in a car or something, if you take a photo, you're going to see it kind of start warping and bending. It's a little bit of limitations in that aspect that it starts to make me think, like, if I'm getting a $1,500 camera, should I invest in something maybe a little bit more that might last me longer, especially if I want to get more into the photo and video spec kind of world? So that's one of the reasons why, and really probably the only reason why I couldn't overlook everything else in a sense to just give up the mechanical shutter. I mean, I would have been fine giving up a little bit of the other kind of stuff that weren't perfect of the camera, but just the mechanical shutter alone was the reason why I couldn't get it. But for me, I'm wondering if this is a camera that you were kind of hoping for or wanting. Is it something that you might go ahead and buy for? Does it work for your budget? Let me know your thoughts down below, as I would love to know your thought process when it comes down to seeing if this camera is good or not. I'm interested to see if this is a camera that you think is really worth it for the money, or if you're wanting to find something better, that you'd be fine to either go with an APS-C mode camera, because for me the enticing thing was being a full frame camera and that small form factor. That would have been really great. Sadly, no mechanical shutter, so I can't commit to it because of that. So maybe there's something else that could be better eventually. And at least they're in the right direction, just hoping that they'll learn from this. But with all that said and done, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, share this video with a friend. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.